We ready? You know what? I I can't believe he legitimately said, give me that donkey butt and the big old legs. Charlie, you trying to be in the video? Girl, look at you. So it's your girl, Charles, and I'm from that every time. Yo. Okay. Hey, y'all, hey. We gonna start by clapping now? What's going on with you? Put your hands down. Okay. Hey, y'all, hey, it's your girl, LaLaJenkins, back with another YouTube video. So in this video, I actually want to talk about how adulting is hard. And if anybody else says it's not, they lying to you, flat out. Adulting is tough. It really is. And it's very ghetto. I would not recommend. 0 out of 5 stars, okay? So this video actually was inspired by one of my subscribers. Her name is Tyler. Hey, girl, hey. So on my birthday, IG live, IG or was it YouTube? On my birthday YouTube live, I asked for video suggestions and she recommended I do a video about life after college as an adult. And so this is that video. Adulting is hard. And let's talk about how it was the worst immediately after college. It was just like I was in college living my best life. You know what I'm saying? Your girl was extra popular, very involved, you know. I had a name in college, but it was like as soon as I walked across the stage, the world just started attacking me. They just had a vengeance. My job was attacking me. My living situation was attacking me. Student loans came from the back. If you don't move, I ain't got no money for y'all. Like it was just everything. It was just like I was going up in college and all of a sudden graduating and saying, like the roller coaster just out of nowhere just dipped, you know? So we're gonna talk about that in this video. But before I get into the video, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button for your girl one time for the one time. I feel like I like so. Let me first talk about why I went to college. Let's start there. So I went to college because that honestly was just what I was groomed to do. It was like junior high, high school, and then college. For me, there was no other option but to go to college from high school. So I went to U of H and had a blast. If I tell y'all, woo, your girl was living her best life. Like college, I feel like sets you up to succeed in that season. Okay, let me give you that disclaimer. I feel like everything that you need in college is there. Like you have the dorms, you have the cafeteria, you have, you know, if you want to maybe get a job on campus, they may have like a little job board for you to look for, and they're open to taking in students with knowing that they don't have any experience, you know, so that transition is easy to get a job on campus. And if you need money, you know, they got refund checks. Girl, your girl was living off them refund checks. But yeah, so anywho, if you need money, that, you know, there's a way for you to get money. You know, your living situation is good. Friends, you living with your friends, you hanging out with them. You just, you know, you have freedom in college, and it's just a really, really good time. And like I said, college set me up at least to succeed. And so I did really well in my grades. If I wanted to, you know, maybe sleep in one Monday and didn't want to go to class, I had that option, you know, and it was fine. Like teachers, not a lot of my college teachers didn't really take roll. It was like one that took roll because he was showing out he gonna put attendance as part of the grade. And I was like, oh, dang. I mean, I gotta get up. But majority of the other college professors didn't, you know, they didn't take roles. So you can go, you can not go, whatever. But as long as I turned in my assignments and got good grades, your girl was cruising in college. So I was really just living my best life in college. And so what did I expect when I graduated from college? Let's talk about my expectations, because I think, I know my expectations is what made my adjustment really rough after college. So I expected that once I graduated, I was going to get a job in my field. So I was a psychology major. I felt like I was going to, you know, maybe work somewhere in like a therapy clinic, whatever. I felt like I was going to do that. I felt like I was gonna live in a loft downtown, and I felt like as soon as I graduated, because I wasn't dating anybody serious in college, but I just knew as soon as I graduated and, you know, started to do my little adulting thing, I was gonna meet me a nice little college graduate, and we was gonna get together, get married, have this big nice house, have these kids, probably about 2 years after we graduated. And, you know, I just had like this whole fairy tale expectations of when I graduated. So I wanted to get all it out the way so we could talk about the point of this video. And the point of this video is I'm getting emotional because it was just really hard for me. Nobody told me that once I graduated, none of that stuff, not one thing I listed from my expectations happened. I did not get a job in my major. I did not meet a nice gentleman. I did not live downtown. I didn't even have no home. Y'all, I graduated and didn't have nowhere to live. Y'all think I'm boosting, but I'm serious. Like, I had an on-campus job, and then once I graduated, there was like, you're no longer a student, so you can't work here anymore. So I didn't have no job. No, can't pay your bills. So I couldn't pay my bills. So y'all, listen to me. I was using credit. I've talked about this in one of my other YouTube videos. It was, what was it called? I can't remember what it was called. I'm gonna put this is what it was called right here. So when I graduated, I was living off of credit cards, and yeah, that was it. I was living off credit cards and I couldn't find a job. So once I graduated, apparently they expect you to have all of this experience. Yeah, I wasn't qualified for any entry level position, which it says entry level, which would let you know that I'm about to enter with nothing behind me. And they was like, you know, I'm sorry, you seem like a great candidate, but you know, you don't have any experience. I mean, I was about to cuss. Of course I ain't got no, I just graduated. What you mean? So I didn't have a job when I graduated. I had an apartment, but I couldn't pay for the rent. So I ended up actually working, I got a retail job. That was really the only thing that I could pick up really fast was a retail job, and it was paying $10 an hour. It was paying $10 an hour. I was getting 20 hours a week. So what's that, 20 times 10, what's that, $200 a week? I was getting hold on, 400, I know my math, $800 a month. And my rent alone was $800. So I could pay for my rent, but I can't pay for electric. I can't pay for phone, internet. I can't, you know, and then student loans calling me talking about $300 a month. Sis, $300? Where do you think I got that at? I literally just graduated yesterday. Why do you think I randomly have $300 a month? No, girl, I don't got none of that. So I was like, so what options do I have? Because I can't afford that. And I was like, well, you can do an income-based, you know, payment plan or whatever. I was like, okay, let's do that, because I got zero income, which means that'll be zero payment. You know, it makes sense to me. So I couldn't afford to live in Houston anymore. It was just, life after college was hard. Like the name of this video, adulting was really hard at that time. I cried all the time. I was very frustrated with God all the time. I didn't really know like why my life all of a sudden took a certain turn. You know, it just didn't make sense to me at that time. And so I ended up having to move home with my mom. So I ended up having to move back into my old bedroom, and it really was like I was starting over. I felt like I was back in high school. I couldn't really afford to pay for anything. My mama was helping me out. And so to me, I didn't even see the reason for going to college. I really didn't. I couldn't get a job in my psychology degree because honestly, in order to get into like clinics, you have to get you have to get like a graduate degree or even a PhD to even get into psychology. So I wasn't even I was just trying to survive. You know, I don't have time to go to graduate school. I gotta pay bills. I gotta live for now. And you know, it was just really, it was a really depressing time for me. It was really depressing because I didn't really know what was going on with my life. And I felt like I was being punished. I really did. I felt like I had this whole fairy tale idea of how my life was supposed to be, but my life was completely different, not even close to my expectations. And so that's what made it so tough for me, is because I expected this and God gave me this. And I said, what about, what is this, God? This ain't what I signed up for. So eventually, listen, now this is not a Debbie Downer. Eventually life picked up for me. I want to say About a year later of moving home, I got a job at a call center, so granted, I was grateful to have a job, but I was like, a call center though? I'm answering phones with a bachelor's degree? Really? God, like, what is it? Like, are you mad at me? Because I know I said when I was little, I really wanted to be an adult. I know I said that, but I didn't really mean it if it was going to be like this, answering calls all day and people talking crazy to you and you can't talk crazy to them back. It was really hard. It was really, really hard. But I remember one of my managers at the call center would always say, when I would vent to him during lunch, he'd just be like, I don't understand why I got to answer these calls and people talking to me crazy and I got a bachelor's degree, da-da-da. And so I remember he would always be like, this season is not going to last forever. He was like, listen, you're not going to die. Just keep answering the calls. You're not going to be here forever. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to be here forever. I'm applying for other jobs. Ain't nobody calling me back. All I got is the phones. And I'm just going to be 57 years old, answering the phones with a bachelor's degree. And I'm just like going on. And he's like, I hear you, but I guarantee you, listen, you're going to look back and realize that I was right. That season didn't last always. And so I remember eventually something clicked in my mind when I was on them calls. Something clicked. And I realized, let me sit up because I'm about to let y'all know what I realized. I realized that this was the assignment that God had presented to me. Even though I had this whole fairy tale idea of how my life was supposed to be, I was supposed to be in somebody's clinic. I was supposed to be, helping them with their issues. I was supposed to be doing all this in psychology, but I was answering phones at a mortgage company. And this is the assignment that God had placed for me. And I realized that in order for me to move on from this, I feel like God wants me to excel. That was what I realized. And so once I realized that in order for me to move, I gotta excel, I went hard on them calls. I went so hard on them customer service calls. Listen, if you called International Star Mortgage, you was getting top tier customer service. Cause I was like, listen, I'm about to flip these calls because I'm not trying to be here forever. So I'm gonna show God that I'm going to go hard with the season that I'm in, and prayerfully, he going to move me out. And you know what? That's exactly what happened. I went hard on them calls for about a year, and after a year, God transferred me over to a different department, and I made more money, and I didn't have to answer calls anymore. And I just realized that, okay, God did see me working hard, and I did realize that in order for me to move on, I gotta go hard with whatever season that God has placed me in. Okay, and I can't be worried about the next season. I gotta focus on this season. Even though I was like, I'm trying to get out the season, so let me go hard. But I was just excelling in this season, and I just knew that that's all God was waiting on. That's all God was waiting on. He was waiting on me to stop complaining. He was waiting on me to stop looking at this fairy tale picture, and he was waiting on me to actually focus on where I currently am. And he was waiting on me not to be so bitter and so upset and so honestly ungrateful, because I at least I had a job. I wasn't even looking at it like that. There were some people who still didn't have a job at that time after they graduated, and I did. But I didn't see that because it wasn't the job that I wanted. I was complaining, I was nagging, I was crying all the time. But then it was like when that shift came in my mind that I got to go hard with whatever season that God has me in, then God was like, okay, so now I see you being obedient. I see you being obedient to the season that I have you in. So I think you're ready for the next season. And so that's what happened. He shifted me over to the next season, and ever since then, I've just been climbing up in my career goals. And so I am a compliance analyst at a bank in downtown. Y'all, I work downtown. I didn't even realize. I'm about to get emotional. Oh my gosh, I'm about to get emotional. I finally got to downtown. It wasn't right after college what I wanted, but years later, I made it to where I really wanted to be. And I just had to follow God. I really did. I just had to follow God. And I'm 34 years old, and I'm finally making it to the point of where I feel like I am at a good place in life, you know. And it just took those years to actually follow God, and it wasn't the path that I wanted. It really wasn't. If God would have showed me this path in the past, I would have said, no, thank you. I won't do that. But you know what? But this path was necessary for me. It was necessary for me to go through all of the different jobs I went through, to go through all of the times that I struggled and I cried out to God and I was borderline depressed. Actually, I say borderline, I low-key was, because I cried all the time. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was just very frustrated. I just wanted to be alone all the time. You know, I just, you know, didn't want to deal with nobody. I barely wanted to deal with myself. So it took, like I said, all of those years for me to finally get to a place of where I feel like I'm supposed to be. It wasn't what I expected, but it was what I needed. And so what advice would I give somebody that's just graduating? I want to give you this advice that I wish somebody would have told me. Get rid of all expectations. Get rid of this whatever idea that you have for your postgraduate life. Wipe that out. Completely remove it from your mind. Because I want you to be open for the path that God has for you. Because I know for me, I looked at my friends, and all of my best friends had the fairy tale postgraduate life. All of them immediately got jobs. All of them immediately got their own place. So one of my friends she got her own home. As soon as she graduated, she was buying her own home, you know, and they were doing well. They were meeting their spouses, having families, all of this. They were doing what I thought I wanted, you know, and so, but my path was different. And so if you're in this space where you're just kind of like, I don't know what God is doing, I need you to understand God is doing something different. He's doing something different. And you got to be open to the path that he has for you, because you're going to be like me and make it worse. The more I complained, the more I nagged, the more I cried, the worse it was for me to move with God. The harder it was for me to move with God, because I wasn't open to it. I wasn't open to the path that God had for me. I didn't want that. I don't want this. I don't want answer no calls. I don't want this. I don't want that. But what I was thinking about the other day, me answering those calls on the phone and helping people with their mortgage actually started to plant a seed for me caring for people and for me even starting this YouTube channel. I'm doing this channel because I care for people and I want to help people. And so I started to get their mentality when I was answering them calls. I said, people are calling about their house. They're calling about their payment history, whatever that has to do with their mortgage. They're calling me for help, and I have to be the one to deliver some quality help for them. I have to actually care about their homes and what's going on the call. You know what I mean? So I think that is what planted a seed to me actually starting to really care for people. And so I see that everything that I've been doing, God, it's preparing me for the journey that I'm in now. Everything in the past has prepared me for everything that I'm in now. And so, like I said, if you're just graduating, I want you to be open to whatever path that God has for you. And even if it doesn't look like the path that you envision, just know it's still a great one. Just know it's still a beautiful path. Just know it's still a beautiful journey, and you're going to get to the space that you're supposed to, as long as you follow God. As long as you follow God. But if you start complaining, pushing back, don't want to move, don't want to do nothing, you ain't going to never get to the place God has for you. You ain't going to never get there. Because I feel like if I would have still been nagging, complaining, I would have been 50-something years old on the phone still. Because God can't use me with an attitude like that. He can't. If I'm not willing to be obedient, what's the point of him moving me to the next season? So I want to encourage whoever is in that season of adulting is hard season. That's exactly what the season was. Because right now, can I say adulting is hard? Honestly, adulting is not that hard for me right now, because I'm in a space of where I finally understand adulting, you know? But when I first graduated, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know all of that. I had to get up early and try to, get my life and stuff. I can't sleep in no more. Like in college, if I wanted to sleep in on a Monday, I can't do that no more when you're adulting. I didn't know that, But now that I'm 34, I understand it. Listen, I'm up straight at 6 o'clock. I'm not sleeping in for nothing. Even on the weekends, I'm up at 6. Like, I need to do something. I can't be laying in bed no more. You know, college, I used to sleep to 12. Now I'm 34, I sleep to 6 a.m. So I think my body has adjusted and my mind has adjusted to adulting. So it's not as hard as what it was when I first graduated. And so I just want to be a light to somebody that is really struggling. Listen, your girl made it out, okay? She made it out. And I don't have a loft downtown. I do work downtown. I would, you know what, low-key I would live downtown, but I have my dog and there's no grass, so I can't really live downtown. So I'm kind of like 15 minutes away. But, you know, I'm in a good space, and so I just want to encourage anybody that's watching this. Listen, your girl Lala made it out. She adjusted. She followed the path that God had for her, and she's successful. And you, too, will be successful if you just follow God. Listen, just follow him. Get into your word. Tap into the Holy Spirit, and I promise you, this season ain't gonna last forever. Okay? So thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Bye.